Florida lawmakers just passed a bill to reform the state's property insurance market, and I'm here with Whitney Ricci, president of Ricci Insurance Group, to talk about what the new legislation means for homeowners, and it's always good to see you.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for having me back.
Yes, so we're talking about, the marketplace and needing a little bit of help. So Florida lawmakers passed a bill to reform the state's property insurance market. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so we have been in a full property insurance crisis for the last couple of years. We've had unprecedented double-digit rate increases year over year, over a $4,000 a year state average increase, which is
that's so much higher than the actual
triple the national
average.
Rate increase.
Okay.
So on top of that, we've had a series of carrier insolvencies, carriers going under, resulting in hundreds of thousands of Floridians completely losing their homeowners insurance altogether, scrambling, trying to find replacement coverage, often in the middle of hurricane season, many of those homeowners ending up in the state program Citizens. So it's been a mess. Now this bill addresses the root cause of these problems, which has been excessive and frivolous lawsuits.
Okay.
Now the primary measures that are included in the bill, the hope is that with the elimination of the one-way attorney fee, prohibiting the use of assignment of benefits, and allowing carriers to include an option for mandatory binding arbitration, we can realign Florida with the rest of the nation and drive down premiums by bringing competition back to Florida.
Interesting. Okay, so along Citizens,
that's a lot.
yes, getting us back to the pack and helping the state, that's what it's all about. So the bill requires insurance companies to review claims faster also. So talk a little bit more about that.
Yes, this is great. This is going to get consumers back to living their day-to-day lives sooner. It reduces the timeline from 14 days to 7 days that the insurance company needs to acknowledge that they've received the claim and review it.
Right.
And then the time period from 90 days to 60 days for them to make a determination on if they're going to apply coverage and pay out or deny the claim.
Yeah, there's nothing worse where you have a claim and you're just waiting and waiting.
I know. And the thing is, most of them are already handled along that timeline, but those few that, that slip through the cracks, it can really be disastrous for the consumer. So I love it.
Right.
I'm here for it. I'm thrilled for my clients.
Very good. All about customer service there. Any changes to customers currently on Citizens Insurance?
Yes, this is a big part of it. And we have a larger amount of consumers in Northeast Florida with Citizens Property Insurance than we've ever had before. So the two main things: if an option comes available in the private market that is within 20% of the premium that they have with Citizens, so up to 20% more, the policy will automatically transfer out of Citizens. And that's what we want as a state. We don't want our state program to be the biggest insurance company in the state.
So think of Citizens more as a program, not the actual insurance.
Right, right. Every single policy that we place with Citizens, we're only placing them there until an option is available in the private market to move them out.
Very good. That clears up some confusion out there on that.
It does. Many people don't understand that, through Citizens, there's also the possibility that they could have an assessment at the end of the year, where private market carriers don't have that. Every single policy we write, the policyholder has to sign off on that they're acknowledging that risk. So while nobody, of course, wants to take a 20% rate increase, giving up the risk of that potential assessment, for me, is better big picture for everyone.
Right, and in the market, there's also going to be some more competition being
allowed.
That's
the hope. Yes.
Hopefully help everything.
Now, there's another piece of the bill that relates to Citizens, and this one has been in a lot of the papers, and there's been a lot of confusion, and it's about the flood insurance requirement.
Right.
Yeah, so this is unprecedented. There hasn't been anything like this before. So yes, it is true that over the next several years, all Citizens policyholders are going to be required to carry flood insurance too. Now, not all right away. They're starting with those that are in the high-risk zones. Then they're going to eventually add those with higher value properties, 500,000 and up. And so it's going to be a few years before every single policyholder, regardless of risk level of their home, is required to carry it. But our hope is by the time that happens and there's a full implementation of this requirement, that we have more competition and we're not having to place as much business with Citizens anyway.
So good. Many good points there. And as a meteorologist, I always said, if you have insurance, you always need flood insurance, no matter if you're in a flood zone or not in Florida.
That's the thing. But what rubs people a little bit the wrong way is they don't like that it's a requirement. They want to be able to make their own decisions. So if we can get Florida back to a condition of many choices, I want to give them many choices. choices. That's why I'm a broker. That's why I'm an independent agent. So I'm very optimistic about this bill.
Very good. I like the optimism. So current customers with Citizens, will they see a reduction in their premium?
Well, Citizens, no.
Okay.
Not with Citizens, and across the whole state, we do want to be clear that the immediate win for consumers, it's not going to be an immediate rate increase, but a huge pro-consumer win is stopping the bleeding. These series of carrier insolvencies that we've had over the last year are wildly disruptive. And if we can reduce, fingers crossed, eliminate any more insurance companies from going out of business, that helps everybody and very quickly. As far as the premiums, we've been on a hockey stick trajectory, and this is a massive course correction. But it's going to take a little while. We have to get through the EN claims, and we have to get back to market stability before we can get competition, but that's the thing in the long run that we're optimistic that will deliver the rate relief for Florida homeowners.
Well, wonderful points, and yes, some optimism is always good here.
Yes, great way to start the new year. It's been a couple rough years in the insurance market, so I'm glad to be back with some, what I feel is fantastic news for our clients.
It is. So if you ever have any questions, you know who to see. Whitney Ricci, Ricci Insurance Group.
Thank you.
And of course, you can head to our website for more on this segment to see it again, and make sure to watch Home Connect TV now on 7 days a week with hundreds of homes for sale across the First Coast.